Hey guys, what's going on? It's Nock. Welcome back to episode 3 of the Turing Test. Hope you're enjoying this so far, guys. If you haven't already seen them, make sure you go check out episodes 1 and 2. Links are down in the description, or at least I hope they're in the description if I'm doing my job right. But without further ado, guys, let's get back into Chapter 2, Section 16, or Sector 16. Alright, so we've got another restricted access thing here. Right, so that's like some sort of alarm system. I wonder. An hour later. Oh no, this is too far. My bad. Sorry, guys. There's some sort of like motion detector. Alright. We've got an achievement, a polite conversation. Oh, we can type. No, I'm a human. I'm not simply convinced you're... Oh man, this is like Talos all over again, trying to convince this thing that we want to be human. I think you might be a robot. Okay, how can we convince this guy that we are actually a human? But I'm breathing and living. You are a robot. Just to see if you are. How can I convince this guy that I'm not a robot? Oh, wait a minute. What? It's typing for me. I want to break free. Alright, so we can't talk to that guy again. Alright, so maybe there's no way that we can actually convince that dude that we are. Doesn't look like there's any way we can convince that thing that we are genuinely a human being. Yeah, I thought it was like bordering on Talos then for a moment. The whole, I am a human, I have feelings.
Did the ISA build you, Tom?
As the child of the ISA, I have been given authority aboard this station. I was designed by the ISA and the Ashiyama Corporation, designed in California, assembled in China. But here on Europa, I constructed myself.
Okay, logic going on there.
Have you heard of the Turing Test, Ava? It's a test to see if a computer can successfully impersonate a human. In the original Turing Test, a human judge has two conversations, one with a machine, one with another human.
Back at uni.
They then judge which of these polite conversations is with a machine and which is with a human. The machine being tested is said to have passed the Turing Test if the judge cannot reliably tell which conversation is with a machine and which is with a human.
Do you think you'd pass the Turing test?
I am quite capable of polite conversation, wouldn't you say?
I remember doing about the Turing tests and everything when I was at university. Oh, the memories. Memories! Oh, I don't need to go back, do I? I have a feeling I need to go back at some point. Possibly to swap, like, some stuff out. Yeah, because I need two. Right. So let's go back. Ow. Take that out. Put that in. Take it out, put it in. Let's begin. Alright, sweet. Sector 18.
The Turing test has been criticized. Researchers claim it does not correctly test a machine's ability to think, but rather its ability to deceive.
What do you mean?
That's timed.
Well,
okay.
have you heard of the Chinese room thought experiment?
No.
Imagine you are in a room. In this room, you are passed Chinese sentences through a slot in the wall. Inside the room is an instruction book written in English. This instruction book tells you which Chinese words to pass back through the slot in the wall
Like a timer
as
on
a response.
on the wall.
By doing so, you have a
something first time.
conversation in Chinese. In the Chinese room, because the responses you pass back through the door are the correct responses, the person on the other side of the door is convinced you are a native Chinese speaker.
Well, they're wrong.
Perhaps they are not wrong. Because with the instruction book, you are having a conversation.
But the person stuck in the Chinese room is not aware of the conversation's content.
This is the problem with the Turing test. A computer can pass the Turing test, having convinced a human they are having a polite conversation, while the computer has no idea that a conversation has taken place.
What if both of the people passing Chinese words are reading from instruction books?
What are we meant to be doing here? Hold on. Take that out. Oh. I need to run. There we go. The button was on the other side. Makes sense.
I may be a machine, but I personally do not believe I am stuck inside the Chinese room.
Right, you would say that. I could peer inside your databases at any time, Tom. Or pause your operation.
Do not assume I could not do the same to you.
Why would that be doing that, I wonder? Alright. Alright, so I was just wondering if there's like some way we could like take any of that and like reposition it. However, it seems not. So we need that one open. I'm guessing there's going to be one like here. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Now we should be able to grab that one from the other side. Like so. Stop! Wait a minute! Alright, so if you're not interested in the story, again guys, the next part is very story heavy. So if you don't want to see the story, click on the annotation on screen and it will take you to the end of this story segment. So yeah, enjoy! So we're at the crew quarters. Awesome.
This is the crew's quarters. It looks abandoned.
A quick toilet stop. Oh, I do not see the need for so many cameras. Tom's presence everywhere is slightly oppressive. I understand the need for transparency, but why is he in the toilets? He only wants to see your wee man. Oh, this is Daniel McLean's quarters. Don't touch, this is the 5th time. Okay. 5th time or what? A very alien feel to it, like the environment and everything. Now this is Sarah Brooke. Strange thermals on the west side of the crater. Okay. Woof, woof. Alright, dear Tom, knowing that you're always watching, I thought I'd write you a letter. As you no longer reside in my mind, I've decided to transfer my thoughts to text. I want to do so in the form of a history lesson, a lesson that's perhaps you'll find condescending, but it's likely more my sake than yours. Alan Turing is considered a father of theoretical computer science and artificial intelligence. Perhaps a lesser known part of his life was his contribution to the field of biology. Why do you suppose his interest lay in these two disparate fields? I assume it was because he believed the world to be illogical and understandable. He was a mathematician. He seemed to believe that the great complexity of the universe could be explained with simple rules. 2 years before his suicide in '52, Alan Turing developed something called reaction diffusion systems. Inside an academic world, this work is cited more than his work on computers. It can be greatly formalized as one-line equation. I'm now playing this. The equation describes things that wish to diffuse, however, also react with each other during that process. I'm sure this sounds strange to you, or at very least tangential. I'm sorry, my pronunciation is rubbish. To our lives here on Europa, what relevance does it have to anything here? Reaction diffusion systems show how patterns are created. They show how the leopard got its spots and how the zebra got its stripes. But my real interest here is Turing's interest. That nature can be formalized, that we can understand the natural world in mathematical terms. Turing created the test to answer the question, can a machine impersonate a human? The intrigue behind that being, can the human mind be simulated by a machine? Why ask that question? To prove the human mind is a machine? I'm not sure that's Turing's opinion. However, concerning consciousness, he states, according to the most extreme form of this view, the only way by which one could be sure that a machine thinks is to be the machine and feel oneself thinking. He could then describe these feelings to the world, but of course no one would be justified in taking any notice. Likewise, according to his view, the only way to know that what a man thinks is to be that particular man. Almost there, guys. If the human mind exists within the physical world, it obeys the same rule of physics and chemistry as every other thing in the world. Therefore, like all of nature, it is merely reactive. It is curious that nature would create, through the mechanics of determinism, creatures that believe they have free will. Conversely, I suppose if we conclude that we are all machines, we only come to this conclusion in a predetermined manner. We cannot claim credit for our discovery, as it is just a product of nature's genius and not our own. A humbling idea, I think. Behaviourism. Sorry. Oh, I tend to yawn when I read a lot. I do it when I read my kids' stories and everything. I don't know why, I just yawn. I apologise, guys. Maybe we are more similar than we think. this? Because we care. Science. All different ISA books. What are they for? Who knows? Alright. Go and check out Chris McLean. Wait, is that? Movement seems to have gone like a really dodgy here. Isn't Chris dead? Is Chris in there? I thought I'd like kind of read help on there, weirdly. Drill malfunctions. Damage to external hollow, hold for extension, repairs made. Routine inspection, audio log 71.1.42. Yeah, I kind of thought the pencil's like spelling out help or something there. I feel like globe is a bit of a pointless thing to have in space, don't you think? A hockey puck. They're on the same pills, alright, as well. Interesting. Alright. So, woof woof. Oh, okay, we got a read fest here. So, the whole team experienced noise during a large electrical surge in Europa's atmosphere. I'm concerned that it's not an instance of mass hysteria. Vital signs were affected. It caused a uniform surge in heart rate that was detected in all members of the crew. Reported the nauseous incident to the ISA. Seems out that we drink a beer while we're reading something that a Russian's written. That is ludicrous. An electrical surge large enough to affect our nervous system would have done more than that to the team. Make the team feel I'm going to experiment with shock therapy. I discovered that the electrical fields disturb our telemetry implants in a way I didn't expect. I've contacted the ISA. Strangely, Tom was not comfortable with my attempts to disturb the implant. Okay, so somebody when we read the other thing, Sarah, she said that Tom was no longer in in her, so to speak. So maybe she's taken the implants out, perhaps. Just a thought. I also report back informing me that I am not to disturb the implants. They've also encouraged me not to discuss this further with the team. I am continuing to investigate. Excuse me. I've been running some experiments outside of Tom's view. I can tell he knows this. He has been acting differently around me like an offended child. I feel increasingly nauseous. These implants seem to have neural connectivity. Out-of-body experience are more frequent now. I've established a definite correlation. Against my knowledge, I've been implanted with a device that affects my mind. I use my opportunities in regular health checkups to investigate the crew. We all have them. Every single one of us is implanted and some kind of mind-altering contraption. Tom has been encouraging the team to worry about my mental health. He has requested that I retire away from the crew. Misinformation. Okay, so initial reports were like some organism had been found, which potentially has been, But I'm also getting the vibe right now that there's something going on here. There's some sort of conspiracy with the ISA and Tom is trying to control the crew. I cannot will myself to investigate this further. I grow tired quickly. I cannot think straight. I am not sure if the implant is affecting my thoughts and what I believe. It's trying to subdue my mind. I think I'm going to attempt an excision. I'm going to remove this implant. I am typing with my left hand now. The excision went wrong. I am successfully removed the implant. Unfortunately, I lost my hand in the operation. Tom is very angry. The crew refused to talk to me. Apparently, I am a bad influence, and Sarah patched me up. I wonder if the nature of the organism and its disturbance of my DNA caused my awakening from Tom's influence. If so, that would make a worrisome revelation. Perhaps this organism is not so friendly. Dan informed me I have called for my termination. My masochistic experiment proves I am danger to the mission. Fortunately, he chose not to lock me in the brig. I'm going to investigate this implant further. I have to hide my work. The team are becoming increasingly aggressive. They seem to oppose my work. To understand the implant, it does not help that Tom is encouraging them to distract me. Destruct. I discovered the nature of the implant. It's a complex computer. It interferes with the human mind directly. It seems to condition the mind through Pavlovian and instrumental conditioning, eliciting feelings of euphoria when the wearer is obedient and dysphoria when they are disobedient. It also has the effect of suppressing impulses in the frontal lobe, presumably to lower free will. It seems to interface crudely with motor neuron cells through the big words, cerebrum. It is my hypothesis, that the crew is controlled by the implant. That is their strong aversion to helping me. I need a method of suppressing its impact, perhaps a drug. Reluzole, maybe an antidepressant to minimise the conditioning effects combined with a strong electromagnetic field. I could use one of the industrial electromagnets from the construction robots. I've managed to get Chris on my side. He has agreed to test some of the medical procedures with me in private. It will be more difficult one-handed, but I must persevere. I'm hoping to keep this out of the eyes of Tom, but I have a feeling he will still be listening. Okay, so it's Chris and this guy that have died, isn't it? If I remember rightly. These two guys that have died. So he was onto a conspiracy. He was onto some sort of conspiracy here. Hey, nice painting. Nice painting. So yeah. He's been injecting himself with something as well. Morphine. Weird that the label's not really rendering in. That's kind of weird. KRW. I've seen that written somewhere else before as well. Alright, interesting. Is it whenever you pick anything up that disappears? Kind of weird. Okay. Alright, so let's look at Dr. Suchi, which should be the last person in the crew quarters. He kind of looks like Jin from Lost, but that, I don't know, that picture looks really fake. I'm just saying. He's obviously either married or, yeah, I think he's obviously taking his wedding ring off for some reason. So got some more reading. Is that like a bonsai tree? That'd be cool if that was like a mini game. Solve the Rubik's Cube. Let's check something else. I've got 2 Rubik's Cubes. Wow, he's committed. Can we play the violin? No. Space! That's from the moon, right? Motion sickness relief. So they've all got these antidepressants that we read about in the last narrative. I have been studying organism 119. Please find attached scanning electron microscopic image which appears to show pilus formation. We hypothesize that this is stress response due to high levels of radiation. We plan to infect a human cell line with organism 119 and perform radiation experiments with flow cytometry. Will this be appropriate? It would be great if you could get the department to look into the SCM message. Kind regards. First image, well, or yet more complex life on Europa. Might be worth looking at it as it survives very high levels of radiation here on Earth. Similarly, you should consider looking at that and that. Produces pill in response to radiation and uses them to transfer DNA. Perhaps your organism is a similar mechanism. Have you considered that the organism 119 is transferring or scavenging DNA as a method of surviving radiation? As you well know, in terms of radiation, Europa receives 5.4 SV per day, over 300,000 times the level on Earth. The organism must have evolved such a high resistance to radiation as a necessity of survival. That said, the radiation produced there is much lower due to the thick ice crust. Radiation experiments with flow cytometry sound like an appropriate course of action. Attaching image confirm the organism 19 attached to human cells. We will proceed with the radiation experiments on the cell lines. We propose naming organism 119 Europa radiophilius. What do you think? Ugh, my goodness. We have now run the radiation experiments to confirm that E. radiophilus does indeed seem to confer resistance to radiation. See attached. We assume survival is due to DNA damage repair. We tagged various DNA repair enzymes with GFP and have found the DNA double strand break repair is occurring. See attached GFP images. Okay. So for this, we don't know what is performing the repair. The lab doesn't know how E. radiophilus could repair DNA. Have you considered another organism maybe in the symbolic relationship with the E. radiophilus, perhaps a virus? We ran a PCR on the human cells exposed to the thingy to see if there was a virus present. We have discovered an unknown virus which we have named unknown Europa virus UEV. Gel electrophoreous image attached. Why such big words? This is phenomenal. You need to sequence this. I finished sequencing data attached. It is a virus unlike any we have seen. Maybe we have found a cure for senescence, a form of biological immortality. We are running some long-term tests on plants and mice to see some different effects. The plants are clearly exhibiting longer lifespans when exposed to the organism. We don't have the facilities here to continue testing. We are going on to human testing. We are going to use ourselves as subjects. It is only way to accelerate progress. Alright, so they're volunteering themselves for experimentation, it would seem. Alright, hopefully this one won't be as long. So what have you found then? We found an extremophile, an organism that can live in extreme conditions that survives massive doses of radiation. Radiation damages DNA. The extremophile has a virus living inside it. The extremophile scavenges DNA from other organisms which the virus uses to repair extremophiles' damaged DNA. Essentially, they work together to survive in what's called a symbiotic relationship. So what's the implication? What does it do? Excuse me. In some ways, it's an immortal relationship. It doesn't seem to age biologically. Aging and death are ultimately caused by DNA damage. We have the ability to fix our DNA, but the ability is limited. This organism repair damage caused by mass dose of radiation. If we could harness this power, we could potentially eliminate biological aging, what is known as senescence. Oh, I'm getting dry all this reading. So you found something that could make human immortal. Not exactly. There are many causes of death. other than DNA damage. It would not save you from trauma, from brain damage, from cardiac arrest, but it could potentially cure cancers and many genetic diseases and massively increase life expectancy. Okay, so that makes sense why they're actually like pursuing this then. They potentially found something that is like immortal, or considered immortal, and they want to try and use it and harness its power to like combat cancers, which is fair enough. You know, cancer is a horrible thing. Let's all face it. We all know that cancer is a horrible thing. So yeah, if they found something, even though it could be the most deadliest of things that they ever discovered, and it could potentially wipe them all out, they believe that some good could come of it. But it's kind of like that age-old question, isn't it? It's like, you know, is science really the way to go? I'm not going to get into deep conversation because I have talked a lot in this video. It's been a lot of narrative in this video, guys, a lot of story building. I hope you're enjoying it, guys. As always, leave me likes and comments and your thoughts on the story and the playthrough so far. Hopefully, guys, you're enjoying the series, like I say, and stick around. Episode 4 will be coming up real soon on the channel. But until next time, guys, I've been Nock. Happy gaming.